Welcome. If you clicked on this link, you are here for free books. Now, we're going to discuss a number of things. David, as you can see, hijacked my show for this particular topic. So what we're going to do today is David is going to explain the contest, the drawing, how it works, and then if you stick around until the end of the video, you'll see the specific books that we're offering for September 2022. Now, that said, if you find any of this information helpful, you like the contest, you like the show, please hit like and subscribe down below. And any comments that you want to make, please put in the comments section about how we can run these contests better in the future. All right, Dave, with that, take it away.
Fantastic. So here's how the drawing works. We use an app called KingSumo, and it's created a landing page that is on my website, okay? This is not the landing page for the 2022, September 22 giveaway. This is, as I've tried to clearly label it, a dummy for the purpose of just showing you the kind of thing you'll see when you click on the giveaway link, which Sean and I are sharing all this week for a giveaway, which we'll introduce in a minute, okay?
And also you'll be able to find the link in the description, and I'll also pin it to the comments section.
Perfect. So again, we're not giving away copies of Sword and Planet or Ramon Turrell's excellent fantasy novel Unleashed. I've given away copies of those in the past. But what you get is a landing page that's counting down the amount of time left in the giveaway. And the anti-bot device is that you have to answer a question. And actually, usually what I'll do is the question is basically whatever this first novel is in the top here, I'll say, who is the author? And you get two clearly false answers. Here I've actually, in the dummy, I just put Who Wrote Witchy Eye, which is a novel of mine, right? So you got to choose. Obviously, H.P. Lovecraft and James Patterson are incorrect answers. This is not an attempt to stump you. It's just a CAPTCHA. It's an anti-spamming device. So, okay.
Now, Dave, when people click on the link,
yep,
they're going to get an email. Is that anything that they need to do before they get?
Well, this is the first thing. When they click on the giveaway link, this is the first page they will come to. So at this point, they enter their email address, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put an email address in here so we can see what happens afterwards. So I've just entered this email address in my dummy giveaway. So it's the only email entered, so it's going to win. Yes. Now you get to this landing page. Now there's a kind of superpower here, okay? So entering your email gives you one entry in the drawing. And what people will win this week, okay, we'll have this week's giveaway, we'll have 5 winners, and each winner gets a stack of books, okay? So
how many books?
A stack of 5 books, and we'll come back and talk about that. And I mention that now because actually I do giveaways on a regular basis that's the winners get 5 books. So
what if they're overseas?
Overseas, some of our authors are willing to mail books overseas, but it's significant. Overseas meaning outside the lower 48 states. Overseas includes Canada, potentially. So if the author finds it prohibitively expensive and you live outside the lower 48 states, you might get an ebook instead, but you won't get nothing. Okay.
Now, the books that these people receive, are they clean? Or are they signed?
So the physical books are ordinarily signed. And what will happen is at the end of the giveaway period, okay, so for this current giveaway, it'll be the evening of Sunday, the 25th September, okay? At 6 p.m. my time, the drawing will end. I will go into the app and I will pick 5 winners. I don't pick them. I just hit the button 5 times. The app selects 5 winners, okay? I just get 5 email addresses. And then I email the winners and I say, hey, listen, you won. We're going to send you books. I need your address and tell me how to sign them. So sometimes people have said, well, I already own that book. Can you sign it to my, sister Susan, or just sign it because I want to sell it on eBay? Or, I don't know if that's your prerogative, right? Or I even had people say, don't sign it. I just want the book. So, okay, that's fine, right? But ordinarily, the offer is that the authors will sign it and the authors will mail it to you, unless you're outside the U.S., in which case you may get an ebook instead. Actually, I had
okay. So going back to this, the 7 entries,
Yeah, so this actually happens before we determine winners. This happens instantly. You enter, you get this screen. Now, why is this interesting? Well, putting your email address in gives you one entry in the drawing, and then the computer app will just randomize, the winners. If you use this landing page to reshare in social media, and it's only some social media sites, okay? I mean, it's, you can see it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and what is that? Pinterest? I guess it's Pinterest. But if you reshare in those sites and someone uses your link there to enter, you get more entries. And we really want that to happen, because that's how this thing can potentially go viral. That's how people who have never heard of us get introduced to us. And so if you reshare and a friend joins the giveaway, you get not one, but 7 additional entries. So potentially, if you share it in social media, you might end up with large numbers of entries. You really up your chances of winning. And how I know that is I've been doing this for about 2 years now, very consistently. And I do have repeat winners. I have people that have won 2 or even 3 times. And I don't think it's because they're just lucky. I think it's because they are consistently sharing in social media and picking up, couple extra people to enter here and a couple there. And, rather than having 1 entry in the drawing, they have 36, right? Or 29 entries in the drawing. Your odds are much better. So
by the way, your math was sound on both. I like that. So you're 1 entry. So 35 plus 1, 36.
Plus 1, yeah.
29 is 28 plus 1, right? All they're all divisible by 7. Very nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Got a spreadsheet here helping me out. So that's the whole process as you enter. And then what'll happen is you get an email from me on the Sunday evening. Usually we end these on Sunday evening. In this case, this month, it's ending on the Sunday evening, the 25th. Those emails do often go into spam. So it is worth Sunday night, if you haven't seen, just look in your junk folder. Okay. Occasionally we get a winner, not usually. Occasionally we get a winner who I send 2 or 3 emails and even try different email addresses, and they just never respond. And I think it's because the emails are going into a spam folder. And unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. Right. I don't know who you, unless I happen to know you, but it's rarely someone where I know them and say, okay, I'm going to give you a call. Right. So check your junk folder. Now, right, you'll get an email from me if you won. Now, whether you won or not, well, here's what's going to happen. From the point of view of the writers, the reason we're doing this is we want to get people to familiar with the books. There is some marketing value there, right? But also we're trying to invite people to join our mailing lists where we can have non-intermediated contact with them, right? So the problem, we all know this, the problem with Twitter is unless you're making a special selection to see the tweets in order, you don't. You see them in the order. You don't see them in chronological order. You see them in the order Twitter thinks you should see them. And Facebook, you see the posts that Facebook wants you to see. I mean, I have had the experience, maybe you have too, where you think, I haven't heard from so-and-so in like a year. I wonder if they're dead. And you go look them up on Twitter and no, they're there and they're posting, but Twitter or Facebook just didn't want to show you anything they posted for the last 12 months, right? So the mailing list gets us around those kind of problems. It's just a way for a writer to, I mail my mailing list once a week. When I have a giveaway, I'll mail you twice in a week to make sure you didn't miss the giveaway, okay? It's just a way to avoid, having someone like Facebook or Twitter strangle the communication. So to that end, what do? If you enter the giveaway, you will get entered in the mailing lists of the 5 writers who are offering free books. Now, you might not like that, okay? In which case, it'll take you about a minute to go unsubscribe. Every time you get the first, each first email you receive, you just hit unsubscribe and you back right out again. And I know that's a little bit of annoyance, but it's not much, right? And by the way, if you win and unsubscribe, that's your prerogative. That's totally fine. On the other hand, you might want to stay subscribed because, for example, I give away free books all the time. Once or twice a month, I give away free books. Other authors I know give away free books, swag, share fun, non-public information, right? First peeks at documents, like first peek at a manuscript, first peek at news that's exciting, and things like that. So
Dave,
yeah,
how many of these entries do you typically get a month, or even a range? Because there's some guy out there some slick who's like, all right, he wants to do the
Calculating
math.
his odds.
Yeah, he wants to calculate his odds. So what's kind of the range?
Yeah. So in a 5-book giveaway, I mean, it depends on how many people. Okay. So look, if I were like really self-interested about this, like if it was just about me, I would be aggressively hunting down only people with big mailing lists to have them enter my drawing. And I don't do that. And I don't, in fact, I have people, writers, giving away books with me sometimes who don't have a mailing list. They're just starting it, right?
It sounds like odds are pretty good. That's what it sounds like to me.
Odds can be pretty good. That's right. So a small number of entries might be 250 would be like, I would go, ooh, it's a little on the light side. Okay. Now, if you think about that and some of the things we've said, okay, if you get 3 friends, right, to enter, you got 50% odds almost immediately on something like that. So
not 50. Is that right?
You're like 10%.
Sorry, that's not right.
You have like
10%.
You're
right, 10%
at a small end. Sort of more typical is somewhere around 350, like landing somewhere between like 330 and 380 is fairly normal. The biggest I've ever had.
So 50 friends, you got 50% odds on that.
Oh, at 50 friends, you have put 351 entries in, and that's correct. And you are half the. Yeah. And by the way, one of your friends is also reasonably likely to win, right? So the odds of you or a friend winning is better than 50%.
So aside from doing unethical things like creating accounts, sorry, I'm pretty, I'm pretty direct.
I'm thinking, how can I game this?
Yeah, no, it's like, aside from that, gaming is encouraged.
Yes, that's right. Sharing in social media is the way to game this. That is. It is. If you can share in Twitter and one friend and signs up, you just octupled your chances of winning, right? So, and the most I've ever had to date is about 1,700 people signed up. So even there, again, you got a few friends, and your chances are not zero. Like you have appreciable, noticeable chances you might win. So, and again, I have had multiple winners over time, as many as people that win as many as 3 times. And this is the way they do it, is sharing in social media. So I think that's probably, unless you can think of other questions, I think that basically covers kind of the how it works piece. Sean, do you want to talk about the current giveaway?
Yeah. So if you are here because you clicked on a link in Dave's email to learn about the mechanics of the contest, now's the time to click away, because we're going to talk specifically today about the contest in September 2022, starting on September 18th and then ending on September 25th. When specifically in September 25th does it end, David?
It ends, I believe, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, September 25th, 2022. So
6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then that would be 7 p.m.
Mountain.
Central or Mountain. It's
there too.
Central, I think.
No, yeah, Central. Yeah. I just said Mountain's my time zone. Sorry.
Yeah, so if you're in Dallas or whatever, 7 p.m. All right, so Dave, take it away with the books that we're offering.
So this week in September of 2022, we're doing a 5-book giveaway, and so you may see this graphic being shared on Twitter, and a version of this is also the background graphic on the actual giveaway, what I'll say this week. So we have 5 books. Sean, should we tell people about the 5 books? Is that the goal here? Okay.
That's right.
So for technological reasons, we've only got the 2 of us rather than all the authors here. So I'm going to give you descriptions. I'll read descriptions of the other short pitches of the other authors' 3 books here. So Richard Paulinelli, When the Gods Fell. The year is 2041 and mankind has finally landed on Mars. But the first mission to the Red Planet will discover two shocking truths. The first is that our understanding of the origins of the human race and its gods on Earth are all wrong. The second is that the last battlefield of a war waged millions of years in the past is coming to our world. So this sounds to me, if you like something like Dan Simmons's Ilium, where, the Trojan War is being mixed into science fiction, then this is probably right up your alley. Sounds like it's kind of the same space. Or something like maybe Roger Zelazny's Creatures of Light and Darkness. Is that the right title? I think that's it. All right, so that's Palinelli. Now, Foster, Mona Lisa Foster. I should say I have read this one. This is a romantic space opera. It is a little bit of a, I will say, slightly saucy romantic space opera, okay? Cyteria was kidnapped as a child. The Rowans enslaved her, brainwashed, and masculinized her in order to turn her into a soldier against her will. Despite this, she has not forgotten who or what she is. It's why she can't pull the trigger and kill her brother. She turns rogue in order to save him and his family, knowing that it will cost her everything. So this is science fiction adventure with a strong romance element. Or maybe it's science fiction romance with a lot of adventure. That's the space it's in. One more, Jason Cordova, Wraithkin. Fate is a cruel, fickle mistress. Torn away from his one true love, Gabriel Espinosa will burn the galaxy to get her back. But doing so first means joining the enigmatic Wraith Corps, where he is thrust to the forefront of a terrible war against an alien threat. The only path to saving her is over the dead bodies of the invaders, if he survives. So military SF, if you know the Chris Kennedy kind of universe and broader ecosystem, Jason's done a lot of work with those guys. I don't think this book is specifically published by Chris Kennedy Publishing, but I think it's that same kind of military SF adventure novel.
It's like Galaxy's Edge type.
Galaxy's
stuff.
Edge type, yeah. The Cole Onspock stuff would be, I think, again in a similar space. Yeah. So that's the three who aren't here. Sean, you want to talk about your book? So we break it up. It's not just me in a straight line.
Absolutely. So this is the only anthology that's offered in this 5-book offering. It is entitled Weird World War III. Weird World War IV. I'm the editor. Dave actually has a story in this book, and the premise behind the book is, what does the war after the next war, i.e. World War III, look like? Is it fought in slag heaps in a post-apocalyptic future, or is it kind of a continuation of conventional World War III? The other piece of it that's important is it has a weird fictional element. So if you think about the premise behind this channel, for instance, where weird science fiction and fact meets the paranormal, this is the book for you. It's all fiction, of course, but there's some really intriguing stories, and there's some great authors in it. Dave is one. We also have Laird Barron, who's one of the finest horror writers of his generation. He's got a story in there. John Langan's got a story. Stephen Barnes has a story in this. T.C. McCarthy has a fantastic story. Martin Shoemaker, Brad Torgerson, and many, many others. So I definitely encourage you to check it out. Jonathan Mayberry, too. I completely neglected to mention him. Weston Oakes, and many others. So definitely check it out. And even if you don't win the contest, check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, I mean, I hadn't actually put this together. I should have, but it's very thematically consistent with the podcast, right? I mean, it's sort of if there were a bunch of vignettes about possible future wars as war gamed out by David Morehouse, it might sound something like, some of the story premises in here.
Funny you mentioned that. He actually pitched a story, a few months ago, just to say, hey, if I were to write a story for Hollywood, I would do X. And then I said, actually, Eric James Stone wrote that story in Weird World War III, which is the predecessor. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly the same, but it was pretty close.
Yeah. Very cool. So there's also one book by me. Thematically, these there's a strong science fiction element here in this giveaway. Abbott in Darkness is a sci-fi novel. Look, if you like the whole Lost in Space kind of family having an adventure in science fiction rather than like a lone fighter captain or something, right? Or a Jedi Knight. That's what Abbott in Darkness is. It's about a guy whose first job out of school is 40 light years from Earth in an isolated world, basically ruled by a company, a for-profit corporation. What looked like his big exciting break turns out to be something of a nightmare, as he's sent in to investigate fraud, which turns out to be gun running and smuggling weapons to the non-human natives. And he ends up in the crosshairs of just about everybody involved. So it's a science fiction thriller about a guy with 2 young kids and a dog. So getting great reviews, excited to give away copies of that.
And I think the other thing that David kind of loosely touched on, but what I think is very interesting about that is there's kind of shades of kind of the British historical imperial past. How did they set up colonies? How did they, they didn't just go in with troops. They had to finance them. They had to have joint stock companies, things like that. And what I think Abbott in Darkness does is it kind of takes that concept, looks at the way that space exploration is currently moving, which tends to be, kind of pushing toward the private sector, and kind of reconceives or reimagines what that might look like given that historical experience. And stop me if I'm saying something that's entirely not true.
That's right. In a real way, it's East India Company in space, which I think on our current trajectory, I think it's not crazy to think that might be where a phase of our development, where a private corporation either actually or maybe even legally and in name, controls chunks of the asteroid belt, Mars, some other system that we reach, right? And like there are some basic problems there. If you give sovereign powers to a for-profit company, they don't have the same incentives that a politically chosen, politically controlled leadership does. If you then put them 40 light years from Earth and travel is very slow to get there, right? You're also putting them beyond the reach of law enforcement. And this is what happened in the era of the great trading companies, right? And so East India Company in space is another way to kind of think about this.
So this is to the audience. Which book are you most interested in reading and winning? Please put it in the comments. Please like and subscribe. And David, is there anything else we didn't cover?
No, I think that's it. I think that's it for this giveaway. Love to see some of you enter and have future conversation with you over the mailing list.
All right. So please enter the contest. Again, it's in the comments and the description. And good luck. And again, you can make your own luck in this contest by sharing the contest with others. Let's just see who's the most enterprising here. And thank you for watching the show. And I will see you all soon. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Sean.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.